Let's go. Line number 2. Say good morning to the Liberal member for Harbour Grace, Portagrave. That's Pam Parsons. One moment here. Good morning, Pam. You're on the air.
Good morning, Patty. How are you on this beautiful last day of summer?
Feeling pretty good this morning. How about you?
Good. I would say you can't complain with this weather. I just hope we get a nice, long, extended fall into December.
Me too. Now, it was a bit of a rainy old weekend. Some parts of the province got absolutely pummeled, including one of the news stories includes Placentia with over 205 millimetres of rain, maybe a little taste of Hurricane Teddy in the offing. I was talking about municipal infrastructure off the top. Is that what you called on?
I sure did. Just this past Friday, my colleague, my MP Ken MacDonald and I were able to announce some significant funding, also in conjunction with two town councils here in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, one being Harbour Grace and the other town was Spaniards Bay, Tilton. So Harvey Street, you've heard me talk about Harvey Street a few times, and it certainly has been and continues to be a top priority here in this district, in this region, in Conception Bay North. It is the main thoroughfare that goes through the historic town, and I'm happy to say currently there is work for Phase 4 that is currently happening now in the town that we were able to announce funding for last year. And just on Friday, we're able to announce more on behalf of the province. It was about $1.4 million. And MP Ken MacDonald came in at about just approximately $1 million as well, just over $1 million. And of course, the municipalities also contribute because, Patty, projects of this scale, it takes multiple levels of government working together. The municipal government, provincial, as well as the federal. It's actually called the Canada Infrastructure Program. And so the towns came in as well at just under $800,000. Spaniards Bay was able to receive $230,000 for water, wastewater upgrades, including road upgrades. And Harvey Street. Harvey Street is the big one, and I'm happy to say, it's long overdue, but it certainly is good to see this work underway currently, and I know the residents will certainly benefit, and they've made it quite clear that this is a top priority. And so it was a good news announcement on the Friday past here in the district of Harbour Grace, Portagrave, for sure.
Yeah, and insofar as municipal and or provincial infrastructure, we talked about the fact that we've seen flooding. We've learned lessons from Hurricane Igor 10 years ago when it struck the province, and the culvert size was increased. All of those things are quite good, but now we know that the frequency and severity of storms seems to be on the rise. Is there such a thing like we look at road work? We have a 5-year plan, we have priorities in place, you leave a little bit of wiggle room, some grey area for if and when there's a washout or what have you. How about review of infrastructure like culverts? Because reacting after the fact generally costs us, 1,000 times more than it would to react prior to. Is there some provincial program of evaluation ongoing about things like culverts?
Well, it's my understanding that the officials, and of course those are people, the professionals, the engineers in the departments that are constantly reviewing this work. Yes, absolutely. The storms and the systems that we're seeing now, you referenced Igor. During Igor, I was a journalist actually at the time, and I was reporting in those systems. And let me tell you, they're quite significant. We've seen lots of damage. 7 o'clock here on Saturday morning, my phone started ringing. And the messages started pouring in about flooding happening here in my area. We do know that Placentia, St. Mary's, that district was hit pretty hard, as it has been over the years. I remember hurricane. It was back in 2006. The name of that hurricane escapes me. I think it was Chantal, Patty, maybe. And they suffered a lot of damage down in that particular area of the province as well back then. But it's certainly a conversation. It's certainly something that we have to do. The weather is changing. Our climate is changing, as we all know. And we need the proper infrastructure, obviously, to uphold, these systems that we are going to get hit with. And we're into hurricane season now, and it lasts right until the end of November. So
it was one day last week there was 5 active hurricanes in the Atlantic, and we don't know how they will track, where they will land, and how severe they will be as they make their way north. But these are very real issues, and getting out in front of them is going to be the key to not only the cost and the efficiency of government spend, but also the health and safety of the general public. I appreciate your time. When you mentioned the Canada Infrastructure Bank, we're going to have to understand a little bit clearer how we're going to avail of some of those monies. There's a lot of matching dollars out there, whether it be with the CRTC and the Canada Infrastructure Bank for things about like expanded broadband. And that's not just about education, that's healthcare, that's business, that's tourism, it's all of those things. And we're really going to need some key focus from the province on that.
Absolutely, Patty, you're right, and it's a conversation that's ongoing and constantly evolving. Before I go, I also want to recognize and throw a bouquet to a beautiful resident here in the community of Butlerville, a lady by the name of Mary Butler. The media actually picked up her story. Recently, she had received some terrible news of a terminal diagnosis. And instead of she decided to forego the treatment, it's my understanding, and spend the time with her family. And so this past weekend, it's my understanding, Christmas is a favorite time of year for Mrs. Butler. And so what the community did, Shearstown, Butlerville, and Alfred Bay Roberts here in the area, they rallied together, and residents put their Christmas lights up early. They put the lights on. There was a parade, and yesterday she had an extended family Christmas dinner, and it was outside. So they were able to maintain the social distancing and to follow those guidelines. But it was a beautiful event. I was invited to come, and so it was an honor to go in there and to see, what it's all about firsthand, the community spirit, the support that rallied around this family, and that continues to do so. And it's just so heartwarming. And I took the guitar along, Patty, and I played a couple of songs, of course, and we all had a sing-song, but it was beautiful to be part of that, and I want to send my very best to Mrs. Mary Butler of Butlerville and her family, and a big thank you to the community for coming together to show this magnificent support.
Yeah, we echo that. Good news stories. They seem to be few and far between, but in fact, we're just not looking hard enough for them sometimes. So that's a good one, and I appreciate you bringing it to the show this morning, Pam. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patty. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.